You need to nurture that network. You need to care for that network. You need to make sure that you give to that network as well, i.e. it can be an online network, or it can be a physical network, something that's close to you, whatever. It can be a global network, but you need to be sending them bottles of tequila for Christmas. You know, you need to be remembering their birthdays. You need to be talking to them. You need to, in a sense, even meet with them for holidays and things like that. Not always, but you know, if there's someone really, really valuable in the network, then you should be going, meeting, building that relationship with them. That's one way of becoming financially free. Next thing is to have products and services, or products or services. Now, do you necessarily have to have those products and services that you are the one that creates them, you are the one that maintains them, you are the one that provides them and does all the work? No. You can also, that's fine. Like if you are broke and you're starting out and you want to do it that way, that's fine. Look at this nice place here. If you want to do it that way, that's fine. But the other way to do it is to actually get other people that already have those products and services and then sell those products and services to your network or to your client base. How can you do that? Run ads. That's one way. So you could run a whole bunch of ads, ad campaigns. You could be reaching out through Instagram direct messaging. You could be word of mouth from one client to another. They come back and they do all of that. And they buy your products or your services, right? So that's another way. Beautiful sunshine today. Another way of becoming financially free is to make sure that you have a diversified portfolio, right? So crypto, stocks, precious metals, gold, silver, commodities, whatever it is that you feel that you should be investing in, great. Real estate is another one. A tip for you: don't get to not get absolutely fucking destroyed. One tip would be to learn what you're investing in. Research the companies, know what they do, know what their targets are, know what their direction is, their trajectory, a rough trajectory, who's on the team. If it's a crypto project, who's on that team, who left that team, who's coming in, who is providing value, who is clever, who knows what they're talking about. Like, if you're not checking that stuff, then you wouldn't be very smart, would you? Because if you don't know what you're doing, then you shouldn't be investing. And if you don't know what a company is doing, then you should definitely not be investing in that company. So, tips to become financially free: have a diversified portfolio. Make sure that you're investing in gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, real estate, commodities. Maybe you want to hold value in supercars, for example, or watches, right? This watch, that's a walk around watch. It's a G-Shock. It's a British Army G-Shock watch. Mudmaster. Does that hold value? No, that's just a watch to scramble around with, right? I like watching it, I like looking at it, and it motivates me in some way to wear this watch. But if you are wearing Rolex or you're wearing any of these watches, you don't even have to wear them. But if you buy them and they're collector's items, they're going to hold value, right? So an example of the most recent one this is nice here as well. An example of the most recent one that Rolex brought out, for example, off the top of my head, the day date, whichever, the new one. Like if you were to be on the list already and you had that watch, for example, and you bought it in London and you were already on the list and they called you up and they said, Mr. Alexander James Jansen, your watch is ready. You say, oh, fantastic. You go and pick it up, and then you could flip it. For example, right now on the Polish market, you could flip it for about 40 grand more. So you buy it for around 30 grand, you'd sell it around 70, 75, maybe even 80, maybe even double your money, So is that smart? Is that a good financial move? Of course, unless you're a serious Rolex collector and you want to keep the watch. So there are many different ways, right? Drop shipping is another one to get financially free. Is it the best idea? It's debatable. Amazon FBA, you know, there's so many things that you can do to become financially free. Does it have to be online? No. It can be, you know, one time I remember being very entrepreneurial as I am, I got a whole bunch of wine bottles. So I knew a person who had wine bottles, and I basically told them, listen, this is what I want to do. You need to give me a whole bunch of wine bottles, right? So they did. They owned a bar and a restaurant. And in Ireland, you don't really return the bottles, let's say, to the supplier. Sometimes you do, but more often than not, you don't. So they basically gave me the wine bottles. I washed them. I took them to a market. I put them in nice baskets, and I sold them for around €40 each for 5 or 6 bottles. So something that cost me nothing, right? And the person was happy to give them to me to get rid of them. Something that cost me nothing made me that day probably like, I don't know, like €400 or something. So from nothing, I made €400. Like, there are many ways. You got to be creative to become financially free. We're not just talking about like someone who has millions or billions. No, there are many different ways and avenues of getting financially free. What else have I got to say? Pretty much enjoying my walk here, talking about how to become financially free. And those are some of the ways, right? Making sure that you have a view out into the future, 5, 10, 15, 20 years out, that you know where you're going, right? Napoleon Hill said that as well. And Earl Nightingale also walked down the street of any US city, right? This is years ago, but even now, or any city in the world, and ask the person, what net worth, what do you want to be worth when you're 65? And he said, watch the blank stare that you receive back. Watch that blank stare. People don't get it. People don't know. People aren't interested. Most people are more interested in Netflixing, chilling, and, you know, doing all this stuff that does not make you money, will not make you financially free, will not get you financially free. So really the choice is up to you. What do you want to be worth? How do you want to make it? How are you gonna make it? And, you know, the point is with all of this, at the end of the day, is money everything? No. Your health is your wealth, in my opinion. I'm very grateful that I'm perfectly healthy. I always am. And so basically, but wealth